I'm Tsukamaki, representing the University of Washington. And before I start my presentation, I just want to say a quick thank you for all the support, one from all the classmates who came down today, and also our teachers, George, and also our new faculty member, Magnus, for coming out today. It's been a great honor. Alright, for my first project, this was a sponsored project we did with Microsoft, and the topic was capturing and sharing moments. And so I created a product that would help people tell stories. So I created a theme that surrounded this topic called Moments Before Moments, and I derived this from this story. So if you look at one, you can meet Chip and Jacqueline, who are over at their grandma's house looking at old wedding albums. They ask Grandma who's who in these pictures. And so Grandma starts pointing out, like, this is your Uncle Jordan, this is your Aunt Shayna, and so forth. And what starts happening, though, is that as she starts pointing out these people, she starts remembering stories and all these other people. And she starts telling them how she met Grandpa and what led up to the wedding and so forth. And so what I got out of this was that oftentimes there's a lot of smaller stories that lead up to the main event. And in photo albums, a lot of times it's the main event, so it's the wedding, it's the sports championship. And so I wanted to create something that would fill in the gaps and finish that story. And so for this, from this, I created the concept message in a bottle. I created a message, the concept message in a bottle is about taking an old analog technology and making it digital. The user would be able to play videos, look at pictures, and hear sounds to tell stories. The design and the interface of the bottle mimics actions that people use while holding bottles. For example, to turn on the device, the person shakes the bottle similar to when you shake a vinegar dressing in order to use it. So on this slide, this is the sequence that would be used to use the bottle. Shaking the bottle to turn it on, mixing the colors to create the screen, and then images start to appear. The person selects a thumbnail, and the media that is related to that thumbnail appears, and it fills the rest of the story. Shake it again, and it returns to the main screen. When done, you can prop the bottle back on its end, and it returns back into its split two-color mode. And this was a model that I did, and also thanks to Synergy Systems for helping out with that model. All right, for this project, this was another sponsored project we did with Fluke. We worked with the members of Fluke's design team and redesigned a new digital multimeter. And so here are some probe explorations. We worked in groups of 3, so it was probes and leads, user interface, and then also the form. And so part of our research, we went out and talked to electricians, and something that was really interesting was that we went and we talked to a female electrician. And it's kind of unique having a female in that field because there's a lot of males. And so we got a pretty different point of view on how to redesign the DMM. And so one of the problems that she had mentioned was just the size and the shape of the DMM, because it's not necessarily, it doesn't really fit well with people with smaller hands. And so one of our main concepts in designing the new DMM was to have this back piece on the back of the DMM that was smaller, that could be gripped by people with smaller hands, but at the same time it would work well with people with larger hands. And then the last concept was being able to rotate this DMM onto its side, and the user interface would follow along with that. All right, so this was a project I did. It was an interaction design project we did with another sponsored project with Boeing, and we worked with the flight deck concept group at Boeing. And our group redesigned the primary flight display in the cockpit. And the primary flight display is something that pilots use to navigate their airplane. It tells them pitch, roll, and really the essentials about the airplane. So the concept was to have a cockpit that would create more awareness for the environment, of the environment for the pilots. And in order to do this, there would be cameras in the airplane that would create a panoramic image on a screen that surrounded the pilot in the windowless cockpit. And so this was the display layout, and the screen would act like a giant heads-up display, and the information would be displayed on top of the image of the surrounding environment. And so some of the info that's displayed is other air traffic, a typical heads-up display unit, weather conditions, and the pitch and roll indicators, which would be on the side. And to get a view of, kind of get a feel of what this would look like, we have this here. And so we have the main HUD right here in the center. We have your flight path, weather conditions, and then you can look around on the side for pitch and roll indicators. So the last project that I'm presenting is my senior project, and I'm redesigning a firefighter harness that holds the air tanks. Firefighters work in a harsh environment, and after talking to several firefighters, I decided that I wanted to create a harness that was safer for them to use. Here's the current harness that the Seattle Fire Department uses, and some of the main components that were addressed was clean the harness after use, weight, because currently it's about 40 to 100 pounds, and having a lot of exposed hardware that can be tossed onto the debris. And so here's some tank variations and ideas for creating a hard shell that would surround the air tanks. The tank would be encased inside of a holster. The holster streamlines the cylinder hoses and air regulators into one clean form. The top of the holster would open up where plug-and-play air cylinders can be exchanged when empty. It saves time. And so here's the harness, and here are some of the safety features. The main features are integrated LEDs that indicate air levels in the tanks so it can be seen by others. A built-in flashlight that has a ripcord when pulled would release the tank so that firefighters can run out of the building. Here's the harness in color. And the harness has a backplate that supports the weight of the air tanks. The current design is just a one-piece injected molded plastic, and my design would change that to plates that would articulate to allow some movement so the firefighter can bend at the torso. And the plates will also be cored out so it retains the structural support, but at the same time, it would reduce the weight. And that's it, so thank you very much.